You're in your 30s. Life is busy, like genuinely relentlessly busy. There's the job, the rent or the mortgage, maybe a kid or two, the car payment, the student loans that somehow followed you into your mid 30s like an uninvited house guest. And investing, real, consistent, intentional investing, keeps getting pushed to the next month. Next paycheck? Next year. Like once things calm down a little, once there's more room. And the thing is, that feeling makes complete sense. It's not laziness, it's not ignorance, it's just life doing what life does, which is filling every available inch of your time and money before you get a chance to be strategic about either. But here's the part nobody says out loud. That delay has a price, a real specific, calculable price. And the number, when you actually see it clearly, is one of the most uncomfortable things in personal finance. My name is Chris, and I've spent way too much time thinking about the cost of waiting, not in a fear-mongering way, but in an honest, let's actually look at the math way. Because I think a lot of people in their 30s and 40s have a vague sense that they should have started investing earlier, but they don't know what that actually means in dollars at 55. And when you see it, when you really sit with the number, it changes something. So let's talk about it. Here is what the delay actually costs you. Let's say you're 35 right now and you haven't invested a single dollar yet. And let's say starting today, you invest $300 a month into a broad market index fund, averaging a 7% annual return. By the time you're 55, that's 20 years of contributions, you'd have somewhere in the range of $150,000 to $160,000. That is not nothing. That is genuinely meaningful money built from a $300 monthly habit. So far, so good. Now let's rewind the clock 10 years. Same person, same $300 a month, same 7% return, but they started at 25 instead of 35. By 55, they have somewhere around $360,000 to $400,000 from the same monthly contribution. The person who started at 25 invested an extra $36,000 in actual contributions over that extra decade, but they ended up with $200,000 more. That gap, that $200,000 gap is not from the extra contributions, it's from the extra time. That is compounding, doing what compounding does when you give it enough runway. And the brutal truth is that the runway in your 30s is already shorter than it was. Every year that passes without starting is a year of compounding you cannot buy back at any price. But here's what I want to spend some real time on, because the raw math is only half the story. The cost of not investing in your 30s isn't just a smaller portfolio number at 55, it's what that smaller number means for the choices you have. Because here is what most people don't think about when they picture retirement. Retirement is not just about having enough to survive. It's about having enough to not be afraid. There's a version of 55 where you have assets generating income, where a medical bill doesn't derail your entire plan, where you have options about whether and how you work. And there's another version of 55 where you're doing the math on Social Security and realizing it doesn't add up, where every unexpected expense feels like a crisis, where the idea of actually stopping work feels impossible rather than just distant. The difference between those two versions of your life is not talent or luck. It is almost entirely the decision of whether you started in your 30s or kept waiting. Now, I want to talk about the thing people almost never address honestly, which is the emotional barrier to starting late. There's this paralysis that sets in when people realize they're behind. You look at the numbers, you see what starting at 25 would have produced, and instead of motivating you, it does the opposite. It makes the whole thing feel pointless. Like, if I can't get the full benefit of compounding, why bother at all? And I understand that feeling. I genuinely do. But it is one of the most financially destructive thoughts a person can have, because the second best time to start is always right now. Not because it produces the same result as starting earlier. And it doesn't, and pretending otherwise would be dishonest. But Because starting today produces a dramatically better result than starting at 45 or 50. Not every single year you act is a year working in your favor instead of against you. The other thing I want to address is the idea that you need a lot of money to get started, because this one keeps so many people in their 30s on the sidelines longer than anything else. You don't need $500 a month. You don't need a perfect budget in place first. You don't need to understand every investment option before you begin. You need an account, an index fund, and an automatic contribution, even if it's $100 a month to start. The habit matters more than the amount in the beginning. The amount grows. The habit is the thing you're actually building. And here is the quiet truth that I think about a lot when it comes to people in their 30s who haven't started yet. The version of you at 55 is being built right now. Not in some abstract future sense, literally right now, by the decisions you make this month and next month and the month after that. That person at 55 either has options or they don't, either has breathing room or they don't, and they will have very little ability to go back and change what the person in their 30s decided to do with $200 or $300 a month that felt insignificant at the time. It wasn't insignificant. It never is. If you haven't started yet, the most important thing you can do after watching this video is open an account today. Not this weekend, not next month, today, even if the first contribution is small, because small and started is worth infinitely more than perfect and waiting. So if you're not subscribed yet, this is the channel that actually does the math and tells you what it means for your real life. Hit subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.